She's got the power to convince him and to encourage him to get his act together. She's got the power to help him to be the man that she needs him to be. She's got the power. She obviously did not recognize it initially, but it was his assignment to inform her because he didn't want to let her go. By letting her know she had the power, they had the hope of being able to move together in agreement. This power is the power of love, he says, and he convinces her that that is the very thing necessary for them to be able to reconcile and continue to be in agreement. The power he is able to convince her that she has, she, although unaware of it, has become accustomed and connected to it in a means by which they're able to stay together. That's power. Power to work it out. Power to walk together. Power to keep it moving. Power to be strong enough to withstand any forces that would try to pull you down, destroy you, or to decimate your expectations. This is the kind of power that is important to grasp hold of and to connect with, because when you know you've got the power, then you live in the expectation that that available power can be utilized in a constructive means by which things work for the betterment of a particular entity or effort or initiative. It is the sense of powerlessness, however, that drove the song, if you will, initially. The sense that we can't make it because we just don't seem to be able to be in agreement. The converse, however, provided the hope and the means by which that particular crisis could be mitigated. It is therefore in the understanding of the power that we have that gives us the ability and the capacity to do what needs to be done. The converse, again, is very critical to point out, because when we don't know we have the power, then we are not in a position to effectuate the change and bring about the betterment that we would like to see. When we don't know we have the power, then we are predisposed to throw in the towel, to quit, and to live in a way, oftentimes unbeknownst to ourselves, that is far beneath the privilege and possibility that is before us, because we don't even know we are powerful, because we have not been told or we have not been exposed to our power. The problem with that is that when we are not exposed to our power, when we are not aware of our power, when we are not in tune with the power that is at our disposal, then we encounter and experience frustrations and challenges that oftentimes are beneath us, unbeknownst to ourselves. We're irritated, we're frustrated, we're inundated, we're constantly barraged, and we're beset with all kinds of issues that, were we aware of our power, would not bother us, because we would realize that we have the capacity to overcome that particular challenge with the power that we have. But they oftentimes don't recognize that what we don't know can hinder us. What we don't realize can reduce us. What we are not aware of, what we're ignorant of, can keep us down. And when we are down, oftentimes we don't even recognize that if we tap into the power that is within our grasp, we'd be able to rise up. We'd be able to shake off the chains that hold us down, and we be in a position to effectuate a better life condition and a better circumstance within which we exist and thrive. And so, sisters and brothers, it becomes critical for us to be aware of the power that we have, because when we are, then our life situation can change. The quality, the efficacy, the possibilities, the environment, and the viability of our circumstances can change and be transformed. It is the assignment of today's word to empower us and to show us that we have the power, because if we do, and when we do, then we can change and see and anticipate transition within our experience. We have, as it were, witnessed the empowerment of a people to a certain extent. We are in the midst of the smoldering smoke and the tension, the tear gas and the white eyes and the burning front ends of stores, the various places within Ferguson, Missouri, where people are outraged because of the recent shooting of a young man, Mike Brown, a young aspiring brother who, in spite of living in Ferguson, a city not known for any particular industry on the suburbs of St. Louis, as it were, a population that is reflective of a 65 to 70% African American, and yet the city populace and the municipal power structure is not reflective or even proportionately reflective of the people. The mayor himself is not reflective of the majority of the community. The police force is overwhelmingly Caucasian, and the people are overwhelmingly African American. There is a deep-seated sense of concern and powerlessness, as jobs are very scarce, and the average annual income is $10,000 to $15,000 a year, and people are living in substandard context, and it is depressed and discouraging. And for some reason, the people have not grasped hold of the power that is in their hands. And how do you know this? It is because, God help a black man, when we are not aware of our power, we settle for where we are. When we are not aware of our power, we are in a kind of lethargy and complacency. We are asleep and slumbering within the place where we have become conformed, because we are not aware that better is possible. We are not alert and conscious to the possibilities that what is in our hands has, as it were, the tools of our own enfranchisement and empowerment. And for some of us, sisters and brothers, we may be coming to a kind of an awakening, because invariably it takes something of a stimuli sometimes to wake us up. And I'd like to suggest to you that, in fact, while the tragedy of Mike Brown's death is replete within a culture, a country, and a nation that is repeating itself, where 100 years ago lynchings were just as prevalent and strong throughout the Jim Crow South, as we see it replete throughout the urban sectors of this city. It is a crime against humanity for us in the 21st century to continue to have to be concerned about the fact that my dusky hue and fleecy locks is a target for somebody who hates my blackness and scared of the power that they see inside of me. And for whatever reasons, we don't see the power in ourselves until a crisis comes. And perhaps that's what has to happen sometimes. Perhaps sometimes we have to be pushed up against the wall. We have to be bullied, and we have to be struck. We have to be knocked around and pushed down in order for us to realize who we are. Sometimes a critical crisis or some kind of issue has to come to help us to realize how strong you really are. Interviews with residents surfaced the fact that we need to recognize our power. One brother was saying we need a new mayor, we need a new police chief, we need more police officers that look like us, on the police force, and they were saying, in essence, if we would just learn how to register and vote, we'd have the power to change our living situation. Caught up a black man. And sometimes the things that we complain about, the things that we are so angry about, if we just take a minute